cloud and on-premise environments. So in the last few minutes, I'm going to hit the case study and take a look at it. So basically, it's a company here in Dallas where I am that I've been working with for the last couple of years, off and on, depending on their audit needs. And basically, they're a big upstream oil company that was basically they do upstream in the sense that they have a great exploration group, and they've recently acquired production groups in Houston as well. And they operate in Africa. They've discovered some large reserves of oil and gas mines. They are publicly traded. So security controls, about 50 rules we ran for them in access rules, from our catalog to identify some early on some security risks around their roles management. Their auditors were one of the big four that they also are, work closely with us, so they were able to share these reports with the auditors. And early on in the project, they were able to address those items and remediate. In their case, there were many of the users that were non-employees. So we built something special for them where they could track, non-employee roles as well as employee roles. And this was an Oracle ERP Cloud implementation that is now successful, and they're running their procure-to-pay cycle through it. Configuration throughout the project, because they had provided the SI part, the system integration partner, elevated access to help them get the invoices in and suppliers in. They wanted to make sure, and then most importantly, their auditors, external auditors, wanted to make sure that they're not changing, areas and processing payments that are not within their authorization, right? So we were able to check that configuration differences across that whole CRP model, and then be able to look at the transactions to identify materialized risk, and also reduce the number of manual controls, which is a great way to move to the cloud with more automated controls. As everything else is getting digitized, I think the controls are, definitely on the top of that list. And so how does it look? So this is now just some screenshots from, of course, I'm not sharing a client data, the generic data, but this is the type of information that they're getting from the cloud. For example, if the journal approval is required, but it's not turned on, they're able to see that and address that across their production, UAT, and so forth. So you can see it becomes part of the testing plan. So this becomes part of a testing solution for them. Also changed by, who makes the changes. So once they're in production and they have multiple people making changes, including consultants that are brought in to help them sustain cloud, you can see that we can track changes, time, old value, new value. So that's very helpful. And then finally, changes to set master data, right? Data changes. What was the value after, before, around, in this case, journal sources. So we saw that there's a journal source that's changed. Transaction risk, so you brought in a bunch of invoices from the interface and you have duplicates. So being able to identify those duplicates, invoices easily with similar amount, matching dates and amounts on the invoice. And then